Okay, so that is a Smith perspective because the more technology advances, there are going to be jobs created because, like they said, people are going to have to actually work those machines. The machines aren't going to work themselves. So therefore, there's going to be more jobs for people.
Okay? Rebuttal by the Marx.
Okay, so what we came up with was that creates more people in the army of unemployed because when like if you go to a store now, you have like 10 aisles, but now you can self-checkout. And there's only one person monitoring all those self-checkout registers. So it creates more unemployed people, and technology is really taking over people's jobs.
And then also like now in like food companies, instead of having people like taking your orders with cash registers like inside, you are just on a POS system putting in what you want, and it's creating a lot less jobs. Yeah, there's still the cooks, but there's a lot less that's creating the unemployment of the reserve, and it's harder to get jobs.
Okay, Keynes is the last one.
Okay, so they said that it doesn't create more jobs. It doesn't like you have to lay off some people, like you're in a factory and you get a machine that does like a filing and the person goes doing the filing. So that's not correct. That's what it's but this one.
The amount of jobs available, having technology in the workforce does not create more jobs. It just creates the opportunity for different jobs and range jobs. Essentially, like there are because jobs are in a way this is back I would have to force them into specialization. Do you want to say this?
All right.
Okay, so we don't feel that actually the technology would create more jobs because like if you have people that are in a factory and there's somebody filing something down in a manufacturing plant and you get something that actually does the filing for them, that actually that takes away that person's job. So it doesn't actually create more jobs, it actually takes away some jobs. And with that, while it might take away somebody's job, it might push them in a way of a different specialization. So it might take them away from here, but maybe they'll put them in a different area. So maybe they wouldn't necessarily lose their job. They would just find something else to do within that company.
Okay. Move on to question 2. From the floor to the Smith perspective.
If laissez-faire works, why are we separated by socioeconomic class We think that the government is providing ways for the lower class to get on their feet to start off with welfare and stuff like that, to build you up, and then Smith focuses a lot on like self-motivation and self-help, so you have to be able to do more after we've already helped you a little bit, and then that's what we're beginning with.
Okay. First rebuttal by the Marxists.
Yeah.
By the
Okay, well, we were talking about how they're talking about the government, but Smith doesn't really believe in the government because laissez-faire means let it be. So it's just kind of a little confusing why you're saying let the government go into it, because that's kind of a Marx perspective of getting the government involved, but that's not a Smith's perspective.
Okay, so we would also agree with them, but then we talked about how it is more of a Keynesian perspective, because Keynes believes in the intervention of the government, and with self-interest, if everyone just goes for what they want to do, it would lead to like the fall of the economy, and like who's gonna step into like regulate that?
Like, for the Smith perspective, a lot of it is striving to make a product or making a profit on your own, kind of investing in yourself in order to make it, and without any government stepping in, how is it going to be possible for those poor people to be able to do that and start a future or financial stability for themselves without getting that boost from a welfare check or benefits from a government program?
Ladies, do not forget to speak loudly. Some of your voices are not being recorded. Okay.
Okay. So, yes, the laissez-faire means without any, as little government as possible. Those poor non-working class citizens still need a chance, and we feel as though there are some jobs out there that will will accept like these people in their, let's say in their area, and within the job they have some like training program that they
So essentially what we're saying is, yes, there are these programs in place for poor, like welfare checks, whatever, but the point is that they do need to, like, we don't agree with like those programs. We believe that the people should be motivated to get jobs, to be able to pursue what they want, to get what they want, and you know, the whole thing is motivation and self-interest. They need to push themselves in order to get a job and to get what they want.
And if everybody's doing what they want to do, then there should be no need for unhappiness. So there should be no need for like the fall of the economy.
And once they do get there, the self-interest and the self-motivation, then obviously then they could get off the government, which is what basically we want and what Smith's, what's the word I want to use? Stand for.
And whilst we can say that the welfare programs for people who are unemployed do exist, we believe that they should only exist when it's extremely necessary. They shouldn't be so lucrative as to discourage people from wanting to go out and work for themselves and attain their own goals and make their own profit. It shouldn't be to the extent as Marx believes that the government is involved in everything, that they control every aspect of your life, that they essentially control what your spending is, what your income is, and they dictate that to you. Nor should it be to the extent of Keynes, where they're getting involved even when it's not to the point where people are in dire need. That it should be when people are in an extreme state of need, and it should be a way for them to get on their feet and then go out to work and work for themselves, make a profit, and continue the capitalist cycle.
I was like,
I know.
I was like,
It sounded better in my head. I was waiting because like you like I know. It's okay.
Isn't it possible to avoid supply being larger than demand by efficiently producing only based on demand?
Can you repeat that, please?
Isn't it possible to avoid supply being larger than demand by efficiently producing only based on demand?
So that sounds like a good idea, but if you wait for the demand to rise to a level where it would be profitable for you to start producing, you're going to miss the profit window, because by the time you actually have the goods produced and ready for sale, the demand is going to be gone and people are going to be on to the next big product.
There's profit way for demand. You missed the profit window and demand is gone and people are moving on into the next.
Okay.
this is how she answered it.
She's looking at us like.
Okay, so what we want to emphasize is how are you able to produce just enough, and how do you know how much or what to produce of that in order to create an economy that doesn't have an excess surplus, because if you have an excess surplus, then you end up laying off workers to avoid the production. So how are you able to kind of stabilize that and keep jobs at the same time and make a profit from your sales?
Okay, so you stated that if you wait, that you're gonna miss. You stated that if you wait, you're gonna miss the window of opportunity. You're advocating a socialist economy where the government essentially dictates what companies are producing what, and they limit the number of companies that produce certain goods. If that's the case, and it's such a stable economy, you're not going to miss a window of opportunity because the demand should be so stable.
Alright, so to the Smith Group, yes, we are advocating for a socialist and communist economic system. We believe that would be more stable than the system that we currently have. So you are correct that doing that would make the economy more stable. We agree. And to the Keynes Group, that's why we are advocating for a more socialist system, because it would be hard to know what and how much to produce and keep jobs and make a profit all at once.
Question 2 for the Keynesians from the floor. Keynes believed that within the capitalist system, being unpreventable cycles, the virtuous cycle and the vicious cycle. Recent proposals from the presidential candidates suggest that we should rid the economy of the booms and busts and take away from the quarterly capital gains made on Wall Street. By ridding the economy of these cycles, do you believe there is any way the economy could stay stable this way? You need to repeat it? Repeat it, please. Keynes believed that within the capitalist system, there came unpreventable cycles, the virtuous cycle and the vicious cycle. Recent proposals from the presidential candidates suggest that we should rid the economy of the booms and busts and take away from the quarterly capital gains made on Wall Street. By ridding the economy of these cycles, do you believe there is any way the economy could stay stable this way?
There is no way to keep it stable in a capitalist system.
There's no way to
Oh, did you do the same one?
Yeah.
There's no way to stay stable.
Because I think it's
And then I, like,
In a capitalist
Okay, so we said that you really can't take out the booms and busts from the economy because the capitalist economy is so competitive that there's always going to be a winner and a loser, and there's always going to be a company that's doing better than the other, and that's where cases of some companies buying out other companies and all the employees come there, or however that cycle works. But essentially, removing booms and busts would not create stability because
In a capitalist system, that's what the capitalist system is. It's the ups and the downs, it's the cycles.
Ladies, we start with the rebuttal with the Smith perspective.
So, according to Keynes' perspective, he wanted a mixed economy, but mostly private. So therefore, there is always going to be booms and busts. Like, you can say that. You can say that.
Just say it.
You seem to be suggesting that there's no way to avoid booms and busts. You seem to be suggesting that the only way to avoid a boom and bust in a capitalist system is to move to a socialist system. So is that not more of a Marx perspective that you're advocating?
So, yeah, we would agree that you are advocating a more Marxist perspective on this question, and we actually agree with you and would like to take it a step further and say that communism would actually just completely eliminate booms and busts and keep everything very stable. So why wouldn't you want to go with something like that?
Excuse me, what? I didn't hear that.
So why wouldn't you want
Yeah, why
something
wouldn't
like
you
that?
want to go with communism if that's going to completely eliminate the booms and busts?
We didn't say
That's what Keynes
no
is.
way. There's no way to. So it's in a capitalist system. That's what it is.
So, we would like to point out that we didn't necessarily say that we wanted to remove the booms and busts. We said that it's pretty impossible to do so in order for the capitalist economy to keep prospering, because as we said, it is a pretty competitive environment, and in order for the economy and financial stability and even the workers and employers themselves, in order for them to grow and keep moving forward and moving the country forward, there's going to need to be that competition. There's going to need to be that winner and loser, and if we don't have that, then it's pretty tough to create a good profit from that. And we don't think that a communist type of government would be beneficial, because the Keynes perspective believes in the regulation of government involvement, so stepping in when and where it's necessary, but having a government that tells you when to produce, how to produce, how much, that would create almost too much structure and not allow for that growth of kind of winners and losers, learning kind of by a trial and error, and figuring out how to keep growing and how to keep moving forward, because in order to move forward, you have to have some setbacks that can allow you to know what is better and what creates a better economic system. And with the government involved, it's so heavily, that's a pretty tough thing to do.
All right, so, everybody gets a few minutes to do their closing statement. The people on the floor can start working on their evaluation.
Oh, the opening statement is on the other side.
So these are the points you want in a closing statement.
Yeah, and I think
So I've got
I can casually just say this at the end.
yeah, like I was gonna
I've
include
got this like
One
Keynes
is
and
necessary,
this part, and this part's really like
and
the
then
need for
but we can mention the state constructs and interest rates again, and then we'll talk about
We have to talk about some other things that we spoke
Yeah.
about within the debate, so.
we can talk about it. So I think it's pretty good that we should mention the closing costs.
But there's always gonna be, no way to stay the same.
Like there will be stability periods, but there's no way to maintain stability. And those instability periods are needed in order to create
what I was gonna say was just parts of our intro that they kind of criticize us for, and I'm just gonna reiterate it to say okay, the role of the individual is key. Classical economics creates specialization, and then
Here, I'll see.
and then yeah.
I'll say this, and then you go into this part, since you talk about that part. We come this part to this part, and then she'll talk about that, so let her read her thing first, because it's contributing everything.
Right.
And then I'll talk about this,
Okay.
and then you can talk about that.
About these two. Okay.
Or,
While we do,
I know what you're trying to say.
we don't want an overabundance.
Yes. Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
So then what would you say?
So you say the first
So,
one.
I'll say
You say the
this.
first one. I'll say the second one, and then you can say the third one.
Well, I was gonna talk about the technology. That
Okay, we will start with Smith's perspective in their closing statement.
Okay. So, the role of the individual in a classical economic is key, especially when they are motivated by their own self-interest. When citizens are working productively to better themselves and address their financial needs, it creates a wealth for the nation as a whole.
Classical economics creates an economy where specialization allows people to work on the things that they are really good at, and while they're working and pursuing their own self-interest, everyone involved gets a benefit and becomes overall happy, the economy will be stable under Smith's perspective of laissez-faire, because it allows for individuals to pursue their own self-interest and to specialize in making goods, which therefore stimulates the economy, and therefore stability will be inevitable.
And we feel also as technology increases, there will be more jobs, because for every one machine, it takes one to make the machine, which is a job, and also to fix the machine as well. So that's another job for and run the machine as well.
And Tiffany Young stated that government effort has not influenced the frequency of recessions. She conceded that it might. Tiffany Young stated that government effort has not influenced the frequency of recessions. She conceded that it might have slightly reduced their length, but not their severity. We believe that individuals can judge much better than any government what is good for them. They can decide to pursue what makes them happy and work hard for financial success. To allow an over-involvement of government is to relinquish such success and will ultimately reduce our autonomy. We've moved away in the past from a capitalist economy as encouraged by Smith, and in the 1980s we moved back again toward a laissez-faire perspective. The result was rapid globalization of commodities, money, information, and spreading the market economy across the world. The Smith perspective is ultimately stable. It's worked for so many years. We've moved back to it because it's so stable, and it does essentially promote stability.
Okay? What?
So we feel that because capitalism is inevitably unstable, a communist society would be better because government will control production. That would eliminate some of the competition between capitalists and capitalists, because they would no longer all be competing to produce the same good for less money. Like each company would be producing their own unique good.
Okay, and then the cyclical cycle would be gone with communism. The production would be controlled by the government, and then the quality of goods is going to be better and longer lasting because there is no competition. So it's not trying to find the cheapest product and materials to make it to where it's only good for maybe a couple of months. They're longer lasting.
The relationship between the capitalist and the worker wouldn't be conflictual any longer because everybody would be provided with a job, and the capitalist wouldn't be focusing on how to increase their profits because the government's controlling what's being made, how much is being made, and when.
And the worker versus worker will also be eliminated because everyone will have their job, and the unfair conditions will also be eliminated. The worker will find more pride in working for their employer because it will be something they enjoy doing, and the army of unemployed will also be gone.
All right. Closing statement, Keynesian.
Okay, so as we talked about, there will be some need for, it's inevitable for technological advances within our society. There will always be some need for technological advances, but that also will continue to create the vicious and virtuous cycles, and there's no way to maintain stability within those cycles in a capitalist system, and therefore we still believe in government assistance when it is needed.
So, for example, in order to be in a good economic standing, you need to have demand that is greater than supply, which results in employment increasing, supply increasing, and that cycle continuing. That would be an example of the stable, when the economy is stable, but when there becomes a surplus and the supply is greater than demand, we see some cutbacks in employment, which leads to the next cycle and kind of leads to the booms and busts that were mentioned earlier. And that is when the government assistance is can be stepped in and when it's necessary in order to provide the lower class with stimulus checks, for example, or influencing the interest rates in order to help keep the capitalist system flowing.
Okay.
She said.